What's up, everybody? It's time for some live action from American Flat Track. It is the AFT Show. I'm Scottie Hollywood Deubler. I am the voice of American Flat Track and co-host of the podcast Off the Groove. Well, we got some live action. We've been quarantined for way too long. We need to do something live. So we've got two guests lined up. They're two former champions of our sport, two of the funnest guys in our sport. Let's bring them in right now. The Jammer Jared Mees and Flying Bryan Smith.
What's up, happening, guys?
What's up?
Locked up, man. You know what prison feels like after these last couple weeks.
I guess so. It's a good thing I can at least open my door and get some fresh air.
You don't.
Well, Jared, you know what prison feels like? It looks like you got a little prison scar over there on your face.
Yeah. It's,
Nicole said he was doing it wrong.
They were trying to take my toilet paper. You know what I mean? So I had a fist fight for it.
So, what really did happen to your face?
I was trimming this palm tree, and anytime you're like standing on top of this ladder, and I got this real tall, big pole saw, and this branch was coming down. I knew it was coming down, and as it was like falling down, the branch like got hooked onto the ladder and swung and went to hit me, and I'm holding the saw, so I couldn't bat it away or nothing. I just had to like take it in the face. So little battle scar, you know.
Well, so is gardening in your near future after you retire? You're gonna be a professional landscaper or gardener or what?
I thought I was doing pretty good with myself all last week. I planted some sods, some flowers, some mulch. I had the place looking pretty good. I took down these big pillars out in front of my house, and then I was like, all right, I'm gonna trim these trees and I'm gonna be set. Boom.
There you go. So that was it for the lawn maintenance. Smith, what have you been doing to stay busy up there in Michigan?
It's been too cold to trim some trees, really, but I actually did get the tree saw out the other day and was standing on the top of a ladder and luckily dodged the branch that swung down that could have gave me a black eye like Jared. But Michigan's sucks right now, man. It's 70 yesterday and 39 and snowing today, so it's kind of putting a damper on any outdoor activities or even yard work would be nice to do at this point, but ain't happening. So
Bryan, how do you stay fit and ready to go? I mean, as soon as they lift this, the ban on everything, the corona lifts, how do you stay fit and ready to go racing again?
Well, unfortunately, guys like Jared are making you stay fit in the sport. So got a bicycle on a trainer in the basement, a little bit of weights and a rowing machine, and you can kick your ass pretty good with those three things. And when it's warm, go mountain biking, go road bike, and when the hospitals get in a little better shape, obviously do a little bit of trail riding and moto and stuff like that. But nothing beats racing, so got to get back to doing that to really get back to 100%.
So, Mees, what are you doing for training other than drinking your monsters? How else are you staying fresh?
I haven't really done nothing since Daytona, dog. Just went
Whatever.
for a walk and
whatever.
A lot of yard work. Just not too much chilling out. These guys are all training and stuff, and I'm going the Jake Johnson route. You know what I mean? Just boom.
I don't buy that for 1 second. I saw a video of you doing push-ups. You look like you did about 100 push-ups in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, I was putting on speed play. No, I've been doing some stuff. Like Bryan said, no moto riding, just because I don't really want to take a chance if something were to happen. The last place you want to go is the hospital, and so I haven't rode at all since the Thursday before Daytona. Or actually, I take that back. I rode right after Daytona, broke my bike, and then got quarantined in and locked down. So I was able to fix it during this time. But just light stuff, really, just really backed off the amount of it, and just kind of put it in low gear for a minute. So it's really about it. Fortunately, we're in Florida. It's actually like 91 here today. So not really worrying about freezing or anything like that. But
yeah, whatever, man. Whatever.
Just been chilling out, getting my tan on,
I hope you get sunburnt.
Yeah, exactly.
So Mees, when do you go back to Michigan? I think you have a house now in Florida and Michigan. Are you even talking about going back up there? Or are you trying to wait until everything settles down?
Yeah, I just kind of playing it by ear, really. I keep looking at the weather up there in Michigan, and like Bryan says, 1 minute it's 60 and it's looking pretty good. And then like all next week there, it's supposed to be only a high like 42. So I'm probably going to wait until the weather's pretty consistent at least to get up there and kind of get outdoors a little bit. Last thing I want to do is like leave awesome weather to go to being locked down in a house because it's so cold. And then it'll be like kind of a state of, when we actually get to go race and also kind of where the whole virus thing is. Unfortunately, up there in Michigan, like it's considered to be like a really big hot spot at this very, very moment. So I kind of, don't really want to be up in that neck of the woods. Sorry, Bryan, but I'll let you guys
You're
deal with
scared.
that.
It's all right. You can say you're scared. It's all right.
I'm scared. I'm not scared of much, but I'm scared of that one.
So, Jared, you got any secret video, secret training that you do that's behind the scenes that we don't know about, or are you just not going to share, or what do you think?
Secret training?
Yeah, you've been doing things secret that I think we've seen you doing a few things at some races before. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Bryan? Let's check this out.
Oh, yeah. You like that, huh?
What are
Yeah.
you doing here?
I can't really juggle very good either. I don't know about Jared. Oh, yeah, he does a pretty good job at catching those balls.
Well,
We
is that a
were,
unitard? Is that a unitard, Jared? I mean, what are you wearing?
that's what I wear to my second job.
The full fishnet suit, the after
full
hours.
fishnet suit. Yeah, exactly. After hours, men's night.
It's see-through.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Zoom in, everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Extra zoom in. Yeah.
So
I can
explain
hide my
this, Jared.
I can hide my tips in there really good.
Yeah. So this looks like it's at Laconia at the short track, and you're just doing this to keep up your reflexes, or what's going on here for real?
Man, I don't know what was going on that day because I sucked bad and everything I did today didn't work. So yeah, juggling those balls or counting them or whatever it looks like I'm doing didn't work, and I don't know what to say.
Let's talk about.
Well, I will vouch for Laconia. It felt like you never rode a motorcycle ever around there. So I guess it felt like you never rode a motorcycle, you might as well try juggling while you're at it, because it didn't look like you're very good at that either. I felt the same way there.
Man,
Yeah, first thing I did after that race is I went to the dentist and got all my fillings put back in, That place was gnarly.
So do you think it was rough like that because they just built it and they didn't have time for the dirt to set in, or what do you think? Because it seemed like it was, obviously I didn't ride it, but was it too much sand in the dirt or what?
Yeah, whoever went up there and improved that place really screwed the pooch, honestly. Like, no offense, but they used the wrong material. It was just a bottomless pit, and it was like you ride one lap, you come in one corner, and you're like, okay, that was pretty good. You come around and try to hit that same exact mark. It was just like the unexpected, So it was just like every lap was a new track and a new surprise. You know what I mean? Like
it felt like to me like it was 1940 or whatever, whenever they actually raced on the beach in Daytona. Like there'd be a wave of sand, you'd use it as a berm one lap, you'd come around aiming for the next lap, and it was gone, and there was a hole the size of your whole front end that you'd have to jump through. So it was it felt like you were having flashbacks of Vietnam or something.
I did think it was cool that Bronson got his first win there, though. I think he deserved that, and I'm happy for him.
Yeah, it's always cool to see a first time winner, and Bronson, he's even more ruthless than Bryan when it comes to, it doesn't matter how it feels or what's going on, how big the holes are, he's gonna send it, and obviously he did that day.
There's been a lot of tracks that are like that brought in like first time winners, like remember Tunica back in the day with Garth Bashkin?
Yeah, it's always something unique. Or Richard Winsett at Daytona. Like the more unique the track, usually there's going to be some guy that figures it out, and the other 18 guys or 17 guys are struggling.
Let's move on. Talk about something new and fresh. Bryan, you struggled a little bit last year and rode the Kawasaki for Howerton, and now this year you're on board with Howerton, the Vance and Hines Factory Harley-Davidson team. So, talk about the new bike a little bit. I know we talked about it on the Off the Groove podcast before Daytona, but let's tell everybody else what'd you think of the new bike when you went and tested it a few times before Daytona?
I took a few tests, but I'm really excited with the new bike. It's a V twin like the Indian, and I think we're going to have everything that the Indian has. The bike hasn't been great in the past, but that was one reason why I wouldn't go to the Vance and Hines Harley team without Ricky Howerton. Me and him have been able to sort out a lot of problems with the Kawasaki, as it showed at the end of 2019. We finally got on track. Unfortunately, it took way too long to catch up to the Indian. But fortunately, we've taken all them notes over to the Harley and made the Harley really good, really fast. And I'm bummed we're not racing, because I think me and Jared would be having some great battles. When we do get a race, there will be battles, but I was hoping to already have at least my third Charlotte half-mile win by now, and we had to sit at home last weekend.
So Jared, when you guys are at the races, do you get to pay attention to the other classes? I mean, do you watch when the production twins were out there, and Gautier was flying, especially at Springfield last year on the XG? Do you pay attention to what they're doing at all? I mean, do you keep track of that, Jared, or are you focused on your program?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. Stuff runs so fast, and the time that the races are getting ran, it's kind of like the time that you speak to your mechanic and talk, or you get something to eat. But we have I jump up on the truck and kind of look at maybe where he's riding, because Springfield last year was kind of unique. We rode a lot higher on the racetrack than we normally did, so I didn't know if that was going to come in or stay in. So I'd kind of jump up there and kind of see where they were riding at mainly. But Gautier, talent wise in that class was kind of almost in a league of his own, really. You know what I mean? That kid has shown some really big, strong signs of talent. And I did notice, unfortunately, that they went through some motorcycles that damn weekend. That's for sure,
Yeah.
But I think they got them all figured out, kind of what I've heard through the grapevine. And I guess it was the same thing that kept happening. And, when bikes are breaking, but it is the same thing that's happening all the time, that's a good thing, because you can kind of pinpoint and zone in right on that. It's when you got four that pop in a weekend or something like that, and they're all different, and you're just like, oh my gosh, you don't know where to start. So yeah, I mean, I think the XG is going to be stronger than it ever was for sure this year, especially with of course Bryan and Ricky behind it, and they're developing, and they're not going to stop trying until they get there. So I expect them to have the best, strongest year that they've had so far, but I just don't think it's going to be strong enough.
Oh no. So Bryan,
Yeah. I heard him say that about the Kawasaki one time too.
that was actually a street bike that you beat him on too, right, Bryan?
Yeah, imagine that.
So Bryan, a few changes. Moving over to the black and orange. You got Howerton going with you. Anybody else going with you to help you out? There's a good look at the bike right there. Is it just you and Howerton, and then the whole Vance and Hines team, or are you bringing anybody else with you?
Damn, that bike looks good, doesn't it? Don't you think, Jared?
Yeah, it does.
I know your dad owns a lot of Harley-Davidsons. You probably think that thing looks pretty good too.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's hard to call that thing production anymore, the way I see it. But yeah, I mean, it's all right.
The bike's solid for sure. Ricky me and him went over there as a team to Harley, and none of the old crew from the Crosley Kawasaki team have went over there with us. Vance and Hines already had a great crew of guys, so we just kind of merged with them. And for Ricky and the whole, myself, the manpower and all that Vance and Hines has, they're first class. So it's kind of like a kid in a candy store for me and Ricky walking in there, because you have all the resources at your disposal. And that's the first time Ricky, as a one-man band, designing, fabricating, welding, doing everything that he does with them bikes. Now he's got manpower to do it, so he can constantly be thinking about the next thing. So it's going to take not only the Vance and Hines Harley team to a new level, but I think myself and Ricky will be the best we've ever been with the Vance and Hines Harley resources.
Bryan, are there any changes to the chassis, or are there changes throughout everything going into 2020?
Yeah, there was a few minor changes we had to do to the chassis that Harley had. They had a really solid bike, but there was just a lot of little things they were missing the boat on. And without giving away a bunch of secrets, it's some minor changes. Some of it, the comfort for me, which is funny because obviously I'm a smaller guy and want a smaller bike. But the changes I wanted, Dalton and Jared kind of liked them too. So it's pretty cool to right off the bat, just some simple things that improve the bike big time.
Well, let's talk about 2020. Getting into it, they're saying we're going to start it at Lexington at the Red Mile. First time since I think 1988 that we've started anywhere else besides Daytona, and it was actually Sacramento when we did that. It was a mile. So, what do you guys think about starting on a mile racetrack? I mean, I know Bryan, you have to be excited about it.
Yeah, I'm excited. Unfortunately, Jared's seemed to figure these miles out the last couple years too. So I think Jared's won every time we went to the Red Mile, and I've been on the podium a few times. Hopefully this year, hopefully me and him can battle for the win instead of him just schooling me at the Red Mile.
Jared, what are your thoughts about going to the Red Mile for the first time? Obviously, like he said, you've won every time we've been there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why the Red Mile has been so to like my style. I always look at the Red Mile honestly as just like a big grooved half mile. Honestly, like the tactics don't seem to really transfer from like Springfield to the Red Mile with like the drafting war. It's more about corner speed and acceleration off the corner and getting hooked up and driving off the corner strong rather than like playing the strategy game as like a normal like Springfield or Sacramento or something. But man, I just want to get going. So I don't care where we start. I'm stoked to start at the Red Mile because I've had a lot of success there over the years. And, the mile game for me has elevated the last 3 or 4 years. So wherever we can start, it's going to be a huge plus. But if it's the Red Mile, great. Hopefully you don't know what to believe on the news right now. The goal is the Red Mile, and I think everybody's trying to strive for that. But, we could wake up tomorrow and be quarantined until damn near June 1st or something like that. So whenever we start, I'm excited.
What do you guys miss? Sitting at home right now, what are you guys missing about race season? I mean, what do you miss the most, Jared? Are you missing, going to the track? You missing, just the main events? You missing all of it? What are you missing the most right now?
Winning.
Short and sweet. Bryan, what are you missing?
Well, it's funny. I was actually thinking about it last night, and I text Jared about it. Actually, we went through the off season, and then this mess happened with the quarantine and this whole pandemic. It's the longest either one of us have never raced to speak of since we were 5, 6 years old. So to think about that, I mean, it's a long, long time where your whole life is programmed. That's all you know since you're 5, 6 years old is going to the races in the summer and racing your hardest and winning. Like Jared says, that's the goal. So to kind of have this long of a break, it's like, oh, this is what it'd be like to be retired from racing. And I don't really like it. So I hope we get going soon.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think it's the longest time I ever sat at home and not left the house except for to go to the grocery store. It's ridiculous. We're just trying to stay safe. But
Yeah, I think that, not to interrupt you, but I think the biggest thing that like just drives myself nuts and probably most of us nuts is that we really honestly don't know. You know what I mean? Like that's the problem is like we just we just don't know. Like I don't, I want to base certain things for training off when we're going and when we're not going. And it's like we're waiting for that call or that email to be like, hey, sorry, we're gonna wait until X amount of date or whatever it is. So it's been a long time of just kind of hanging out and it was hard, we all worked so hard in the off season and like myself, I felt like I put as much as I ever did, if not twice as much into it.
Yes, Scottie. Did you see Jared? He showed up. He looked like he just got out of the concentration camp. He's 10 years and he's been since 7th grade.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe I had lost that. But yeah, I don't know. We got to Daytona and was like ready to go, and then it was like, put on the brakes, and now it's like it's literally until we race the Red Mile, it's literally going to be the same amount of time, damn near, from January 1st to Daytona as it was from Daytona to the Mile. And it's like, I don't want to do all the work over again, but I think that's one of the biggest things that hurts the most. And then, there's days that go by. It's like, dude, I just want to go and race. I don't even care if I finish last. And then it's like, nah, I go race. I'm going there to win. You know what I mean? So whenever it is, I think all of us are going to be pretty fortunate. I think all of us really sat down and really thought about like, man, love racing motorcycles even on the struggle days. But I think we're all pretty itching to get back.
So we do know for sure that AFT is locked and loaded and ready to go. As soon as we get the green light, we'll go racing. So we do know that, and I know all the teams are sitting there ready to go too. Is there one favorite moment you have from last year, Bryan Smith?
Last year wasn't very high moments for myself. It's it's one of the worst seasons I've had in a long time, since probably one of my first seasons. But the highlight probably was almost winning the last race. Finally getting the bike sorted out where it was competitive against the Indian. But it was pretty cool to pass Jared at Laconia after watching him juggle and stuff. So I guess either one of those are, you can take it and leave it.
Jared, what was your highlight from 2019?
Oh man, my highlight from 2019. I mean, with not winning the championship, I'd probably say maybe winning all the miles. I think that's kind of something cool that everybody wants to try to do. Probably doing the double at Springfield off the very, very back row was probably a big, probably one of the highlights. I don't know. I felt like last year was a disappointment because I didn't win, but there was a lot to be proud of for sure. And yeah, I mean, I'm glad I was able to highlight Bryan Smith's 2019 year by letting him pass me for 8th.
He let me. Dude, I seen you working that thing over, trying to hold on to it.
Oh, dude, when I had to push that thing to the middle, I was like, man, this sucks, but whew, let's go home.
Yeah, if there's one race track that you weren't sad to maybe have a failure at, it was no fun to be had at Laconia. Unfortunately, it was no fun for anybody, I don't think. Bronson, probably the only guy that'll say he had fun.
Absolutely. So let's talk, Bryan, about maybe some of your best wins against Jared, or battles, or even grudge matches against the guy sitting beside you over here. I mean, what comes to mind when we start talking about, great races with that guy beside you?
Shoot, some of them didn't even involve a flat track race. It's the trails in northern Michigan or the lakes in Michigan in the wintertime, or most recently the bicycle rides. My tongue will be in the spokes. You're trying to keep up with each other. But the one that obviously everybody goes to is Santa Rosa 2016. You can't argue with that. Championship was on the line. Whoever won or whoever beat each other that day was obviously going to be the champion. And I'd never won it before. Jared got a couple of them before that, and it was do or die. It was almost an eerie feeling, shaking each other's hands going to the starting line, because man, it was all on the line. I was willing to give it everything I had and then some, and obviously I had to. But it's funny because that last corner, last lap, I remember thinking going down the back straightaway, I was completely spent mentally, physically, couldn't hardly see where I was going. I had so much dirt in my eyes. And I remember thinking going into turn 3, do not leave the inside open on Jared Mees. You never do that. You never do. And I remember thinking as I'm going on the back straightaway, don't do it, you idiot. Don't give him the inside. Because in 2009, when you think, oh, he's your buddy, no problem. I'm leading the Lima half mile, last corner, last lap, 2009, no big deal. I'm going to roll in there on the groove. That's 4 inches wide. Surely my buddy ain't going to run into me. Here he comes. Bam! About takes us both down. And fortunately for me, I gathered it up and kind of got back by him and won the Lima half mile that year. But it's funny what'll go through your head how many years later, 2016 Santa Rosa. Remember what he did to you at Lima? This is more chips are on the line. Don't do it again. So then I mess up and go so low through a line in a hole that was the size of Texas that I'd never seen the whole race because I never went low. About went through the fence into the parking lot. And but obviously, fortunately, it worked out. And it was memorable for multiple reasons.
Well, let's take a look back at
Mees
the
with a
Santa
lap
Rosa
and a
Mile
half to go.
2016.
He's
You guys
in
feel free to talk
contention
over it,
here,
but
folks.
man, what a race
Lap
that
and a
was.
half
I mean,
to
it
determine
came down to
a
the very
whole
wire,
season
and
of
it was so
championship right
exciting
here.
to announce it. I
Smith
can't imagine
struggling.
being out there, you guys going at it tooth and nail.
Man, look at all the moisture in that track.
I was just gonna say, holy track prep.
Well, Moorhead couldn't
Mees
get out
is
there with
going
the
to win
street
the
sweeper.
championship. He's got to put himself in.
Yeah, we needed him to
alongside
come
on
out
the
there
inside.
mid-race with the
Smith
sweeper
squares it
and
up,
blow in
coming
the
off
bottom
turn
line
two.
for all of us, for
Jared
sure.
Mees, any chance, is going to have to get ahead of the number 42 in the middle of 3 and 4. Mees drafting
Right
down
here,
the
I'm going to go
road.
low and block
Get
him.
there, but
Hit
this
a
is
hole.
it. 2 corners, ladies and gentlemen, for the Grand National Championship.
Oh, Smith hits a bump and goes high. He goes all the way against the air fence.
I knew if I got her wide open that Kawasaki was going past Jared's bike,
He's going to come off
100%.
the bottom. He's going to take the line away from Jared Mees. Here they
Crazy
come to the
race.
finish line. Mees says, I don't have anything
Wow,
left.
Man,
what
that-
a finish to
That
a
race,
title
this race here is
wow.
something that enters my
Man,
mind
my
What
heart
a
rate is
title.
once a week to this
racing. I
day.
can't even imagine those guys out there.
Jared,
Baker takes
Jared,
the
what
win.
would you do
Smith
different?
takes home second and the championship. Mees
Um,
will get third.
He'd have took me out.
Championship.
Don't lie, you would have took me out.
Right now, Chris
And
Carr.
meanwhile,
Yeah,
out
I
front,
probably
10
should have
and a
ran the
half
low line
seconds
like he was
ahead. Brett
anticipating on and gave him the old shove. Honestly, I think I should have entered maybe a little bit higher and ran through the middle, knowing that he was going to hook that hole. I just didn't off the exit get to the black groove low enough, like quick enough to make it accelerate good, and man, if I'd have came off the turn 4 like a foot or 2 lower, I swear I might have been able to zip him. It's a good thing he had all that horsepower. Damn.
Man,
It's funny because you think back, like, I had the horsepower advantage. He had the traction of the XR 750 through the corners. And fortunate for me, it worked out that day where the horsepower came into play. But it's funny because now after what we did through 2019 to make the Kawasaki better, it's like, dang, if I'd have just had some of this at Santa Rosa, Jared would have never caught me, or I'd have, it'd have been a battle the whole race or whatever. It's funny, like I won, you think I'd just forget about it, but instead I'm always going back to, why didn't I have this back then? I'd have been way better. I'd have won more races. So it's funny how as a racer, you're never happy.
I guess was like the biggest thing that eats me up the most is like if I would have pulled that last lap pass off, it would have just been like the greatest thing ever. You know what I mean? Because I ran him down from so far back and like just got to him, and if I could have made it stick, it would have just been like the talk of the
What
championship
if?
forever.
What
But,
if?
yeah, what if? But it made me super hungry. I could tell you that. I was bitter, man. That one eats on me still.
all right,
I'm
Jared. So
getting sweaty.
getting excited. All right, I like it. So, Jared, talk about some of your best, battles with the guy sitting beside you. Maybe some grudge matches from the past. What comes to your mind? What's some of your favorite?
Man, there's been a lot of them. That race in Lima back in 2009 was a badass race just because like it's Lima, it's cushion, and it's kind of like both of our hometowns track, and that was a good one. There was one at Hagerstown back in 2012. Bryan won it, but it was a good little battle. Probably the Rapid City half mile was the track was so good that night. We could pass and move around and slice each other's lunch, and that was a
Yeah, that was a really fun battle because that was
Jared
when we
Mees hasn't
got the
given up
Kawasaki
yet.
pretty
With a lap
even
and a
with
half to
the
go.
XR on the
He'll have
half
to
mile,
pull
and
some rabbit out of the hat.
it was just like riding at the lake in the wintertime. Like our bikes were almost even and just running different lines and taking each other's lunch money every corner.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing you watch that race over again and how easy it would have been just to collide into one another. How I don't think we touched once. We came close, but we never touched once, which is probably unlike myself, going towards the end.
Yeah.
Of the race. That was a good one. That was probably one.
We were screwing around there. I didn't realize how close Coolbeth was there. He about got by both of us.
And taking the victory here.
Yeah, he was coming for sure. I think, when you guys are battling like crazy, you're not really focused on going as fast as you can, but that allows everybody else to catch back up to you.
Yeah, exactly. That was a good one. Yeah, the other one that comes to mind was, for me, more than anything, was the race up in New York at the end of 2016 where Bryan was going really good all day, like fast qualified it. He was going real good. And it was kind of at the moment in the championship where it was like, I need to win and he needs to win. Like it was like that bubble, we're going in the last few races of the year and we were so close in points. And it was like, this could be the deciding factor, And I was struggling throughout the day, meaning time wise. Like I won my heat race and stuff, but I was so far off Bryan's time, lap time wise. We went in the pits and then came out for the main event and grabbed the start and just rode like a flawless race on like my behalf with the bike and everything and was able to like make it work. So for some reason that one there was one of those like do or die, gotta go. You gotta win this. You gotta pull something out of your hat to make it work. And for me, it was like if Bryan would have got the whole shot, I'd have never got it done. You know what I mean? So getting the whole shot and then just running lap after lap is, as tricky as it was so slippery. That's probably the slipperiest half mile that I ever raced in my life. Like it was so tedious, everything was so slow motion. You rolled out of the gas and it was like you could count in your head 6, 7, 8, and then all of a sudden you just touch the gas a little bit to get the thing to come off the corner. You know what I mean? So it was like you could not hurry up at all.
Yeah, so if you're trying to make up time on somebody, it was like splitting hairs. It was so slick. Jared, of course, got the whole shot, and I remember I was in third for a minute, had to go by Carver, and he probably had 10 bike links on me, and I might have took out 2 of them, and then started trying that 1% harder to catch them, and all I did was go slower. And it was pretty amazing that day to be the fastest guy there by a lot and do it on the Kawasaki. I remember thinking, man, what's going on? These Harleys aren't going good. Then, of course, Jared and Kenny go work their magic and come out swinging in the main.
I like how you say work the magic. That's pretty cool. You guys been racing for a long time. You were friends for a while growing up, then you weren't friends for a couple of years, and now it looks like you're friends again. So, Jared, what's Smith's biggest strength as a racer?
The miles, the craftiness on the miles. Honestly, I've said it before lately, and it's the God's honest truth, but like following him on those XRs for as long as I did, and just I knew when he would roll out of it going down the straightaway and why he would do that and how he would move over this way. And I at the time when you're racing, you're just excited to get by the damn Kawasaki, you know what I mean? But like back looking at it and rewatching things, it's like, okay, I know why he set that up and why he did that. And it's like, we learned a lot of lessons, riding with him, and I put them in place today, racing like last year and things like that. Like, no offense, no offense to the guys that are where I'm out there racing against a lot, but it's like we were with Springfield last year, and I'm like, man, what are these guys doing? Like I get it. They're just there trying to get there and make it, but I'm like, what are we doing here? Like honestly, I say it, but if Bryan would have been in the main event on a bike that would have been running up front last year, I really think him and I would have linked up and ran away. Like I really do. Like no offense to the guys, but I just think we'd have saddled up and we'd have just done our thing and kind of went about our business. And Bryan's biggest strength, honestly, is for sure the craftiness on the miles, especially like Springfield, Sacramento. The miles that I say that are big half miles, like the Kentucky Red Mile. It's hard to have like mile technique there, but for sure Springfield and Sacramento, it's tough.
So Jared, what's Bryan like when you guys are on the victory podium? You guys are congratulating each other. What's he like on that podium?
Mellow, exactly. Yeah, we've
Whoa, whoops! What's that dress say?
It says Progressive Insurance. Yeah.
Wow.
I think he's sneezing.
Yeah.
Got a little excited.
Yeah, exactly. Bryan's same guy on the podium as he is going out the starting line, honestly. He's just even kill.
Guys like that fun. So
oh, look at that. That's our Bible study class right there.
Looks like it. Looks like you're pretty serious.
Yeah, no alcohol involved. Nothing, promise.
Yeah.
Oh, man. See, it's cool, these old pictures. It's throwback. I mean, that's Daytona, probably 08 or something.
Nick Cummings, yeah.
So you guys are friends now. Y'all get along. Do you guys hang out when you're not at the racetrack? I know it's hard to when Jared's now in Florida and Brian's up in Michigan, but at the races, you guys hang out.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people ask me like, what do you guys talk about? What do you do or whatever? And it's like, oh, we'll go ride bicycles, but we'll be walking up to the starting line at Springfield, and we're talking about a rental house or the stock market or mountain bikes, everything besides the motorcycle race. And 9 times out of 10, sometimes it's kind of weird that it's everything else in the world. But like I told you before, Scotty, now me and Jared are the old guys, and kind of relates to like the mile race, and it only comes with experience. And it's like the racing's almost secondary sometimes. We know what we got to do. We know what's he going to do? Tell me his tire pressure. So we're going to just put that out of the way and go race later on. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about going mountain biking with our buddies like this picture, or what rental house deals are out there, or what the stock market's doing, I guess.
So when you guys are together, like, in the summertime, Jared lives up in Michigan. Do you guys train with each other, or do you train with other riders at all?
Yeah, I mean, last year, towards the middle part of the year, we started linking up and doing some mountain biking. I do a little bit different. I think Bryan spends a lot more time on the mountain bike than I do, but I go out there maybe once a week. We link up and do some mountain biking, and then we did some road bike rides and stuff like that. So, yeah, we did some training last year for the first time in a long time, mainly last year starting, I don't know, maybe like July or something, or June or whatever it was. So it's been good.
Yeah, we link up, ride moto, ride trails, ride bicycles, the easy stuff, the fun stuff, but we ain't in the gym spotting each other or nothing like that.
Jared, what's your favorite training method or activity to do to get ready for race season?
Ooh, my favorite, man, I do like mountain biking a lot up in Michigan, but it's unfortunate, obviously getting ready for the season. I'm not in Michigan getting ready, but I don't know. I think the row machine for me is probably my number one training tool piece of equipment. I guess if you were to say, hey, dude, you get one piece of equipment to take for all year long, I'd probably choose the Concept 2 rower, honestly. I feel like you can do a lot on it, and you could do it if it's raining or snowing or cold or hot or whatever. So for me, it's that, and I do enjoy mountain biking a lot. I mean, I enjoy everything. I don't really enjoy running a whole lot. It's okay. I don't do very much of it. My knees, I got like not bad knees, but my knees hurt after I run a lot. So I don't really run a lot. But bicycling and rowing is probably my favorites.
Jared, what about your diet? You had a personal trainer for a while. I don't know if you still have him or not, but he was coming to the races for quite a while. What about your diet? Does it change from, off season to during the race season, or do you focus on that every day?
A long time ago, it was like all in and then nothing and all in. But honestly, lately, like the older I got, I just enjoy eating pretty clean all year long. I mean, yeah, off season, we'll have some ice cream or like, some French fries or something like that. Yeah, for sure. And, but mainly year round, I stay pretty dedicated to a diet. I mean, mainly everybody that knows me like, man, I don't really bench too far from much, but I enjoy eating clean and healthy. And Nicole, the wife, she does a really good job at making really good meals and things like that. So I try to eat as clean as I can all year long, and that's about it.
Bryan, what do you do for training, activities or your training method? I know you mentioned the mountain bike quite a bit. What else do you do?
Yeah, I mean, I go to the gym a little bit, a few times a week during the season, a couple times a week. I got a row machine just like every flat tracker does nowadays. And bicycle's the funnest thing. Ride a little bit of moto. Jared and the whole moto crew are pretty serious, but I do a little bit of beginner track moto just to get the arm pump through the week. But, Jared's a different kind of human. It's funny, like you go ride with him, and sometimes he's mad it didn't hurt worse than when and going in. So, like, I like to keep it fun. Like, of course, I'm not just out there lollygagging around, but Jared's not happy unless the suffer factor is like over 100%. Like it's got to hurt or he ain't happy when he goes home. So, and I think the same thing being said for the diet. Like when he's on it, I remember driving to California with him and he's got chicken and rice that we're eating driving down the road in my box van, cold chicken and rice because the season was coming up. I'm like, dude, how about that In-N-Out we just passed? Maybe we could stop for one burger. But same thing, you get older, you want to eat cleaner and healthier, and it's the only way to probably be competitive once you get a little bit older. You know, like my buddy Ryan Wells, he'll eat hot dogs and pizza and go out and outrun me any day. But when you're 21, 23 years old, that stuff don't matter as much as when you're gonna be 38 this year. Gotta watch after it. You know how it is, Scotty.
Yeah, I'm getting old. I know exactly how it is. That stuff doesn't go away. It just sticks to you, man. It's harder to get rid of. So
I'm so bad when it comes to, man, it's cool that Bryan knows me since like 2005, and it's just like, yeah, whatever, let him do his thing, because like when it's me and mountain biking and road biking, if it's time to just floor it, you know, it's like full competitive. And he's right. Like if I don't have an hour bicycle ride in and I'm supposed to do an hour, I'll literally do a whole nother lap just because I got to get my time in, or like this sucked, you know, I didn't even get my heart rate up. And he's full right about it. I take it. The reason why I take training so competitive is just for me, it makes it fun to where I want to keep doing it. There's some times like this past year, you know, the guy I'm working with, I'm just like, dude, come on, you know, can you at least let me put something up on the board for some numbers, because I'm just sitting here rowing and you want, you know, the heart rate here or there, whatever it is. And I'm just like, this is so boring. You know what I mean? Just let me floor it. But it's that's what makes it fun for me.
Bryan, I got one more story I guess I want to bring up before we get out of here. I mean, there's still a lot to talk about, but you guys said you traveled a little bit across the country. I think there's a story about Jared trying to eat the 72-ounce big Texan steak in Amarillo. Bryan, elaborate a little bit on that one.
Yeah, back before, you know, there was factory teams and all this stuff kind of going in flat track with it being cool and lots of sponsorship. Me and Jared were driving down the road, driving our own race bikes, you know, whether it was in a van or Craig Rogers' big motor home. And I think we were coming back from Pomona. We were going through Texas there for the big Texan. And Jared wakes up in the morning after we've been driving all night. Man, I should try that. And which I've never seen a human eat as much food as Jared Mees. So I said, hell yeah, you could definitely eat that thing. Pulled in there and that
it was like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it was steak for breakfast. It was insane. And they lay that steak out and that thing on the table. I mean, it's this big. I mean, it's a huge steak. And then you got to eat a salad and shrimp and all this other stuff. And they put them up on stage in front of the whole restaurant, start the timer. I think you get an hour to eat it.
Yeah, you get an hour.
He probably ate 60 ounces of steak.
Wow.
And in an hour. And I was shocked he couldn't do it. And then about an hour and 5 minutes after, he puked up probably 40 ounces of steak right on stage in front of the whole restaurant. There was families shielding their kids' eyes because there was chunk flying. It was something I'll never forget.
The sound of both things.
Yeah.
Oh man, that we were with Sean Russell and James Hart coming back.
Yeah, they can all vouch for it. It went from really entertaining to really scary once the puke started flying.
I just remember like, yeah, you got to eat the salad, the baked potato, the shrimp, and of course the big steak. And I got the baked potato, dude. The baked potato is bigger than this monster can right here. Like, it's a big baked potato. I got the baked potato, the shrimp, the salad, and I don't know what I got for ounces in, probably 50 plus in. And I remember at the very end, the timer was coming down, and I couldn't physically swallow any more meat. Just like my mind was telling you, nope, not doing it. So what I was doing is I was putting these big globs of meat in my mouth and like crunching them up and swallowing them with a chug of water like it was a big pill. So,
dude, my stomach hurts just thinking about that.
Wow.
The timer goes off, and I stand up, and I just literally, my whole belly is full of probably a gallon of water and all this food, and I just literally get that clammy feeling, you know. And I was gonna like try to walk off and make it to the restroom, dude. I stood up and just was like woozy and looked right over, and boom, right there was the trash can, and I just let her rip right in that thing and just threw up all over the place, right in the trash can. Yeah, it was a hell of a good ride home. Remember, they were you could log in and people from home could like watch it. I think Bryan.
Yeah, it was a live webcam. So like my family was watching. We had Gary Stolzenberg in Dayton, Ohio, Sean Russell's family in California. We're all watching him eat this steak, and then they also watched it come back up.
Wow. Jared, would you ever try to do it again?
Man, I used to be able to pack a lot of food, like Bryan said way back in the day, and I don't think I could do it no more now. I mean, I would like, man, a perfect scenario. I think back in the day, if it had been later in the day, I remember waking up earlier in the morning to like drive, and I was eating like M&Ms and pretzels and all kinds of crap, just drinking waters and Monsters and all kinds of stuff. And I remember like passing it, but man, we should check that out. And Bryan's like, dude, you probably could do it. And I'm just, yeah, eating M&Ms and Skittles, Twizzlers, whatever. And like I said, it was 9:30 in the morning. The place was like literally just opening up when we got there. And I gave her hell and tried, but came up 20 ounces short, I guess, you know.
Scottie, you want to hear a good story about traveling on the road that also sums up Jared's personality pretty good?
Yep.
It might have been the same trip, might have been a year earlier or later, but remember we've been driving for 2 days or something. We're going to California or coming back, and I think we got off to get fuel, and we're getting back on the on-ramp, and we're in just me and Jared, I think, and maybe Kenny Coolbeth was with us. And we're getting on the on-ramp, and we're coming around the corner, and Jared's driving. We're all tired, you know, been looking at the road forever. And here's this hitchhiker standing there with his bag, you know, got the sign, got his thumb out, whatever. And the big truck's going up through the gears, you know, the semi, whoom, and then all of a sudden Jared gets on the brake as soon as he's passing this guy. And he's waving to him. And I'm like, man, this guy's going to pick up a hitchhiker? And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And the guy grabs his stuff and takes off running towards the truck like he thinks he just hit the jackpot. This,
Right.
you know, Mercedes motorhome with race stickers is picking him up. The guy no sooner gets to the door and Jared floors it. Whoa! There's smoke all over him, and that guy's just looking at us like you. I'm sure he had some great names he was calling us.
He's probably still a Jared Mees fan if you're in one of the race vans.
Yeah, exactly. But that'll I'm like, man, this guy's getting soft, you know. We were like 28 or something, 25. I'm like, he's getting soft in his older age. He's gonna pick up this bum on the side of the road. Wrong, he floors it.
Just looking for something to do, I guess.
Pass the time a little bit, have some fun. So how many motorcycles do you own, Jared? How many you got that you still have right now?
All my bikes are flat track bikes. I've got I don't know, 2 or 3 flat track 450s. I still got my original Rotex that I got when I was like 12 or 13 years old. I've got a couple of my old XRs that I did some work on back in the day, of course. I've got my own personal Indian flat track bike. So I don't know, I'm probably 8 to 10. I guess I'd have to count them all, but probably 8 or 10.
Right on. Bryan, how many you got?
Probably something around there. You got a few 450s. Kind of been with this quarantine time, been out digging out parts of. I got stuff to put together an old Knight Rotex, as you know, Scottie. That's one of the best bikes ever made. So
Yep.
kind of been putting that thing together. I got stuff for an XR, but probably the coolest bikes I have is, or the coolest obviously is the 2016 Kawasaki that I won the championship on. There was 2 of them. Ricky Howerton's got one sitting in his living room, and I got one sitting here in my basement at home. So it's pretty cool to have such a special bike, such a historic bike. look at every day, basically.
Right on. I still have my very first motorcycle, an old Yamaha TY80. I've got a Rotax, Woods Rotax. I don't have my night Rotax anymore. I wish I still had it as well. But then I got a street bike. I got a Harley that I ride every once in a while. I'm usually too busy, but that's all I've got left. So let's talk about racetracks. Jared, you promote the Lima Half Mile. You've won there. Is that your favorite racetrack?
Yeah, it probably is, honestly. I really enjoy the Oklahoma City Mile as well. But I think overall, the Lima Half Mile is my favorite. I just like the track that changes. For some reason, like when you get done racing the Lima Half Mile and then of course winning it, it's like Bryan said, like I love it when you have that sufferfest feeling, like you just
go figure. It's the hardest one to win. You got dirt in your eyes. The roost feels like you got shot with buckshot.
I love that. I love that
feeling. When the race is over, no matter how good a shape you're in. Go figure. Like winning that one the most.
Yeah. So that one there for me I like winning that one. I think it's cool with all the fans, and of course, lately, with me promoting it, it's like really feels good mentally to win that one after putting all that work in. But the fans all scattered around the facility and throwing their hands over the fence, they're just, I don't know, it's something about that place. Your tracks, the lines are always changing. Like you go win Springfield and your heart rate don't go above like probably 120. I mean, it's mentally more taxing than anything. And then you come back in and your leathers are clean enough to put back on the hanger for the next weekend. I love Springfield, don't get me wrong, but Lima, I like that. I like the war of it for sure.
Bryan, what's your favorite track?
I mean, Lima's fun for sure. I haven't had as much success there as Jared's had, but been fortunate enough to win it the one time, been on the podium a few times. But obviously, the most consistent one that we go to, Springfield, I can't argue with that being my favorite. I wish we could race Pomona. I always loved Pomona. That was probably my favorite outside of Springfield or Indy Mile. Any of the miles are fun, but Springfield, it's going to be a great surface. There's going to be fans in the stands. It's going to be a scrap. You're going to have to outsmart a guy. And, when was the last time somebody's ran away with Springfield? It's been a long time. Coolbeth maybe in 2008 or 9 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been good. I think, my favorite one to watch is Springfield, just because there's, especially in the past, there's been such big packs. And then this last year, you guys brought the big pack again back together. And I loved that. That race was so exciting. I know some of you guys said it was crazy being that close with that many riders, but man, that was so exciting to me.
Yeah, at Springfield, I mean, the atmosphere, I remember walking in that place when I was 8 years old. And the same thing with Lima. I went to Lima and Springfield both when I was 8, 9 years old, and still remember crawling up to the fence and watching the guys go by fast. So not only just growing up, but you go for the first time, a new flat track fan, they're going to see a show. They're going to see the great racing at Springfield or Lima. So I would say we both like two of the best tracks ever in flat track history.
Absolutely, man. I sure do miss racing. I can't wait to get back to it. What's the first thing you're going to do when they left the coronavirus, the mandate to stay inside? What's the first thing you're going to do, Jared?
Probably get back in the motorbike and do some cross training on the motocross bike, honestly, and then maybe go out and sit down to eat.
Yeah, right.
We literally haven't taken takeout or sat down to eat since like Daytona. We drove home that Friday night, and Saturday the next morning. We cook at home a lot anyway, but every once in a while we'll go out, and we haven't even taken takeout one time since then. So probably look forward to going out and maybe going to the beach if I'm still here, but probably something like that.
Bryan, what are you missing the most, or what are you gonna do first when you get when they lift the quarantine?
Yeah, like I live in a same thing. Go out, and I live in a cool little area here in Fenton. I can walk downtown, and there's a bunch of cool little outdoor bars and restaurants, and just want to sit out on an outdoor patio and have a beer and some food with some friends and actually hang out and not feel bad about it.
Right on. Well, guys, thanks for coming on the first ever episode of the AFT Show. Jared, Mees, it's good to see you. Bryan, we just talked the other day. You'll be on the podcast tomorrow on Off the Groove, and man, it's been a blast trying to catch up a little bit and just talk some racing for a little while. We appreciate you stopping by here, and We'll see you soon, hopefully at the racetrack.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. It was fun. Jared, not so much.
Try to grow some hair, dude. You look like this here.
Dude, hair.
Look, I got
out.
plenty. I'll just give you some, dude.
Yeah, can I borrow some?
Oh man, look at that.
Man, that's long.
Look, Pantene Pro V commercial.
Look at him, Bryan. He's trying to get another sponsor. He never.
So healthy it shines.
He's relentless.
Just grow it out till you can get some dreadlocks going. That's right up your alley.
That's my plan. All right, guys, have a good one. Scottie, thanks. Bryan, good to talk to you, man. I'll be kicking your butt on the bicycle here soon.
See you guys later.
See you.